they do it only on one side.
Julie. Hi, how are you? Can I give you the certificates for Mr. Johnson this time?
It's not your fault.
What?
Teresa. You don't have frames, right?
I do have
Oh,
frames.
okay. I'm sorry. I thought Teresa didn't give you frames.
I have frames.
Okay, cool. Mr. Johnson's not here.
Oh.
He had an emergency. He had to leave his dad. I guess a heart attack and he drive out to New Hampshire or something. So I'll have I'll just forward it. And then I need you to sign something too, and I have the gift cards too.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I have frames. Okay, relax.
Welcome.
What's that?
so weird signing his name like a bird. He signed so slow and perfect.
Okay, so let me.
I need to do the initial that you received on here that you received.
One here or the
Right here,
actually
anywhere,
doesn't matter. Yeah.
I'll just keep these up
Okay.
with us so that whenever you come up, it's up. I know this is cheap, we're terrible.
Did they bend or I'm just gonna have to?
They kind of bend. I always rip them, unfortunately.
So he's just gonna. Thanks. That's like a great.
One of my favorites. Oh my God, are you kidding? You slide it in.
Time back tonight.
Good evening. The hour of 7 p.m. having arrived, I call to order this session of the Woodland Hills School Board. Ms. Pule, will you call the roll?
Ms. Ava Johnson. Mr. Fred Kuhn. Mr. Jeff Hanchett. Dr. Jeff Hildebrand.
Here.
Mr. Robert Tomasic.
Present.
Mrs. Sharday Seligson.
Present.
Mr. David Graves.
Here.
Mr. Mike Belmont.
Here.
Ms. Jamie Glasser.
Present. Will everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Did we do them last week? Okay. Okay. All right. We addressed those last week after all, so thank you all. Okay. Moving on. Is there a motion to accept the minutes from the September meetings?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Belmont.
Second.
Second by Dr. Hildebrand. Any questions or revisions to the minutes from last month? Seeing none, call the vote. The minutes are accepted with one abstention. Moving on, we did have an executive session this evening to discuss legal and personnel matters. Are there any announcements? I'll make one just to remind everyone that we will have our first district-wide trunk or treat event this Saturday at the junior-senior high school from 2 to 4 p.m. All are invited. I expect that there'll be a great turnout. We have some 80 trunks registered to participate, and that should be a great event. So look forward to that. Anything else?
Also the busing. We have
there will be buses available from all of the school buildings to the junior-senior high school to transport people should you require transportation to get to the event. So, okay. Any other announcements? Okay. Seeing none, I understand we do have a student speaker in attendance, Mr. Presta George.
Oh, I wasn't here.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, fellow Woodland Hills community members. My name is AJ Presta George, and I am a senior here at Woodland Hills High School. I sincerely apologize for my attire tonight. We came directly from marching band practice, but over the course of the school year, I, along with three other classmates, will be speaking to you guys about current events happening in the high school. There'll be senior Kevin Tinsley, senior Jaslyn Moses, and junior Chloe Thomas. So you will be seeing us fairly regularly. Going along with the high school, beginning of the school year, everything is ramped up and at pace. We started off strong with our homecoming, senior Spirit Week, and our homecoming, which was very successful. And fall sports are now closing in with our senior recognition nights, and then football team has made playoffs. A cross-country runner has qualified for championships. That's a senior Sabrina Yashinsky. The marching band has their championships this Saturday after Friday's football game. The athletic department is sponsoring a new website that you can access on the Woodland Hills website for new apparel, and I was just looking over it with Miss Nagy. It looks pretty sweet. Moving on to the clubs that have been ramping up with the start of the new school year, FBLA has also been sponsoring quite a bit of apparel that has been sold to students at the high school. Many other clubs are ramping up and doing some good things. National Honor Society is starting their service projects. Many clubs are participating in the trunk or treat that Ms. Glaser has mentioned. The junior high is working on their musical. That is going fairly well, I've heard. Today, the senior high musical meeting took place after school. The FBLA is sponsoring a flea market on October 28th, so any used goods sent to the FBLA. Parent-teacher conferences are taking place on November 9th after the end of the grading period. Today, the Woodland Hills Interaction Series in the library sponsored Sports Illustrated writer S.L. Price. And then on December 4th, Pulitzer Prize-winning author Jennifer Egan will also be in to talk to students in the library. And then lastly, our student leadership classes, comprised of seniors, are not only speaking to third graders about kindness and learning the 5 Ps, but are also teaming up with ninth graders to create presentations on being good citizens. And that's pretty much it for what's going on in the high school as of now. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, AJ.
Appreciate it.
And have a good night.
And we do have presentations. Dr. Livingston, if you'd be so kind as to present the Wilkins Spirit Award winners.
We'll take pictures. You excel at that.
The first person that we have this evening is Joe Lawrence Stewart. Come on up, buddy. And Miss Bacco, his first grade teacher, nominated him for this, and you can come on up too. She said, Joe Lawrence always shows the 5 Ps in the classroom and in the hallway, no matter what situation arises. I have personally witnessed him go out of his way to lend a hand to others. He is the perfect example of someone who follows the rules and shows kindness, even when no one is looking. He is a true role model and student and sets an example for others. I highly recommend Joe Lawrence for this award. The Woodland Hills School District is proud of him.
Did you smile? Wait, you're not done. You still have to take a few more pictures. Hold your award. Hold your award. Just like this, okay? Dad, can you take this?
Sorry. Yes, sorry.
Let's get mom and dad.
Yep.
Triple.
Oh, wow.
You ready?
Ready?
1. Very good.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, and Wilkins' next Wolverine Spirit Award winner is Brett Ray. I have loved Brett Ray since he walked in the first day of kindergarten. But I did not nominate Brett. Our school nurse, Annie Johnson, and our homeschool visitor, Danielle Zarisco, did. And they had, you can come up, and they said about Brett, we nominate Brett Ray for the Wolverine Spirit Award. Brett is prompt by coming to school on time every day and is prepared for class. He is always in uniform and ready for the day. Brett is productive by working hard in his classroom and always trying his best. He is a proud Wolverine who follows all school rules and leads by example for his peers. Every morning, Brett walks into Wilkins showing his quiet sign and politely greets Miss Zarisco and Nurse Johnson. Brett has such an outgoing and happy demeanor that he puts a smile on our faces every day. The Woodland Hills School District is proud of him. Oh, was here. I'm so sorry. We've got to do another one with Joe Lawrence. I'm so sorry.
All right, you ready?
Get baby sister too.
Come on. Look, say cheese.
Very good.
All right, well, thank you all for being here, and congratulations to our awardees. Moving on.
Right.
We do not have any registered speakers, as I understand it, so we'll move right on to curriculum. Okay.
All right. Action item 3.1, approve permission to investigate the sale, donation, or disposal of obsolete curriculum materials.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Tomasic, seconded by Dr. Hildebrand. Any discussion on this?
Real quick, Mr. Finney, you had an idea on this, moving this stuff. Is that your stuff or is that somebody else's?
This is curriculum.
That's correct. Yours was the next one. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. Anything? Any other discussion on this question? Okay. Seeing none, call the vote. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to personnel.
Okay, action item 6.1, approve all of the authorizations, section A through, what is that, G? And then,
Yes.
Yes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Moved by Dr. Hildebrand, second by Mr. Belmont. There are some amendments we need to make to the tab. Does somebody want to make those amendments? Offer those?
Sure. I'd like to amend the motion to include the resignation of Mr. William Hornick, effective November 1st.
And we need to do
Oh, yeah.
The salary for the...
salary for the transportation coordinator.
And also to amend the salary of the transportation coordinator to be determined.
Two.
35,000.
What?
35,000.
To $35,000.
And behavior specialist.
Oh, God, what did we write?
And also, we're going to add a behavior specialist at the high school.
No.
It's going to be a modified position.
That'll be done next month. We're
We're going to eliminate.
We're going to table something.
right. We're going to table the portion of the tab that
That included that.
would have created a new behavior specialist
Okay.
until next month.
Well,
So we're going to eliminate the post for an assistant.
we're going to amend the motion to eliminate the dean of students and to post a position for a modified behavioral specialist position.
Assistant principal.
And also to include a fourth assistant principal.
That's already on.
Okay.
A
So
lot of stuff going on.
yeah. So to be clear on that,
Yeah, help me out here.
right. So we'll review all those. So to be clear on that, in section B, we're adding an item number 5 that is the resignation of Mr. Hornick. That would be B5.
Effective November
Effective
1st.
November 1st. For his resignation. In section, excuse me one second, in section G, we're going to,
It's all.
yeah,
already in here.
in section G, we're going to eliminate G10, which would be create a new behavior specialist at the high school, and we're going to table that until next month, at which point we'll consider a modified position there. And then also in section G1, we're attaching to that posting a salary of $35,000 for the new transportation coordinator position. Okay, so those are the 3 amendments to the tab, as I understand them. Is that correct, Mr. Beaumont?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions on the amendments?
How many people working in the office, transportation? How many people now working over there? 1, 2, 3?
Right now, there's
There's three right now. There's the director, one coordinator, and a secretary.
It's going to be a fourth one?
This will be a fourth one.
Why?
Mike, do you wanna
There's
take that?
additional need to. Don't forget, they also do food service over there. So there's an additional need to help look at the bills and get the transportation runs in order. You have 92 different schools we're transporting to. It's not like when there were 10,000 students coming to this school district where you had, you know.
I can see it. So at the beginning of the year when you have to set up, and after that's over.
There's still an
Tell me why.
ongoing need to get
That's 4 people now.
information into the system and up to date. It's ever changing. We're still not over the hump. This is what, the 6th week of school, 7th week of school, and we're still not settled.
Can I follow up on that?
Yeah.
Is this budgeted?
No, this position isn't budgeted.
So, okay, just come out of general fund. Where is it?
So
Where's
where's
it
the money
coming
coming from?
It would be coming out of fund balance, basically.
What's the number now?
Budgetary reserve.
What's the number on that? So that's my vote, and I got to make 2 notes. So what's
That's
it?
G1.
G1 and G9. Got that, Julie? Julie, G1 and 9.
Okay. I'm sorry, I have one question. I apologize. Did you say you were going to eliminate the dean of students?
That
That's already in here.
that's on the tab.
It's already on the
That's
tab.
on the
Okay,
tab.
I'm
That's,
sorry,
that's
I'm
not an
just-
amendment.
I'm
That's
right.
That's not an amendment? Okay.
It's not an amendment.
Right.
Okay. I'm sorry. Thank
Right.
you for clarifying.
Yeah. So let's, when we vote this, let's do a separate vote for G1 and a separate vote for G9, since Mr. Tomasic has raised concerns about those. So we can do that separately by.
Let's do that by voice.
We'll do it by voice vote on that.
Can I ask one more question about the transportation? I'm assuming this is a full-time, 40-hour-a-week gig. This is not, okay.
Any further discussion on the personnel issues? Okay, so we're going to vote electronically for everything except G1 and G9.
Okay.
And then we'll do voice votes for those 2 pieces. Okay? So seeing no further discussion, we'll call the question.
The chairman of that committee, nobody's called me. I said, we need people, right? I'm the chairman of the committee. There's no something done.
That's the business principle.
I think.
Sorry.
Yeah, you have to be on the tab that you're looking at.
Yeah, I was
or
looking for the document.
Okay. All right, that motion passes unanimously. Now we'll do a voice vote.
Yeah, let me say my comment, because I'm the chairman of the transportation committee, and nobody getting any updates, the need, and whatever. So I'm sitting here, all of a sudden, looking at a motion.
Do you want to table that for further discussion, Bob? Or do you want
said-
to, Mr. Tomasic, do you want to?
I said, if you need, I can't, no input. I didn't see nothing about what they're doing over and what the needs were, whatever. Nobody gave me no phone call, no update or anything. What's going on?
Would you
So-
prefer to table that until next
I don't
month? We can
care.
talk about it
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
committee.
I would do. Okay.
Okay. Is
Do you need to
there?
make a motion?
Yeah, so I moved the table
Okay.
G1.
Okay.
Well,
Is
I
there
would
a
say
second?
until transportation meeting next week.
We can talk about it at transportation next week and then bring it up again next month. If
I'm good with that.
okay. So there's a motion to table, seconded by Dr. Hildebrand, made by Mr. Tomasic. So we can vote on that motion to table?
Mr. Graves?
Yes.
Ms. Seligson?
Yes.
Dr. Hildebrand?
Yes.
Mr. Tomasic?
Yes.
Mr. Belmont?
Yes.
Ms. Glasser?
Yes.
And then now G9.
And this is the creation of an assistant principal position at the high school. Any discussion? Is there a motion on that?
So moved.
Second.
So a motion by Mr. Belmont, second by Dr. Hildebrand. Any discussion on the creation of the assistant principal?
That's 4 up here, right? It's 4 assistants. Yeah,
Now
yes.
what is our status right now?
Right now, the structure is 3 assistants.
And a dean of students.
Plus a dean of students.
And a dean of students.
Assistant, now you move over to 4 then.
Correct.
How many-
4 assistants.
1,500 kids. I don't know how much work you have to do.
But we have eliminated the dean of students position
I know,
as a result of the tab. Yeah.
I didn't know why we needed that one either. I said, we got any more people in the classroom, and I said walking around and being a principal and whatever. Administrators.
Just for, I guess, more information, Mr. Tomasic, with not enough, so what we had with the Dean of Students is someone who handled discipline and really couldn't help with professional development and observation of teachers. There's a lot of teachers in that building. If we change that position and add another assistant principal, what happens is you have more administrators that are hired as administrators to be able to handle discipline, but also provide more professional development and observe ultimately more teachers, because as we know, everything starts with instruction and handling the classroom. So if we have more people observing teachers and in classrooms more, we can help curb a lot of the issues that have come up through discipline and testing and everything like that.
And I said, but I got so many dollars to spend. I like more teachers, teachers in the classroom instead of administrators. So that's my concern.
Okay.
I got so many dollars I can spend. I want to put my money in the classroom.
Do we have a difference in salary between a dean of students and a
Angel, what
assistant
was
principal?
the dean making?
55.
And assistant principal started 75.
Right.
Assistant principal started 75.
Right.
Any further discussion? Okay. Seeing none.
Ms. Seligson?
Yes.
Dr. Hildebrand?
Yes.
Mr. Tomasic?
No.
Mr. Graves?
Yes.
Mr. Belmont?
Yes.
Mrs. Glasser?
Yes. Motion carries 5-1. Okay. Moving on to transportation.
Okay. I'm going on. Recommend the ratification of the agreement with the Yellow Cab Company of Pittsburgh, DBA Z-Trip, regarding the transportation of homeless students and emergency-type transportation issues, pending solicitor review and approval.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Hildebrand, second by Mr. Belmont. Any discussion?
Yeah, I should have asked this last week, and I'm sorry. What's the number that we're talking about? A number of students on a...
140.
Is it in? Okay.
Homeless.
So that's for the home. That's how many we have. I'm not sure if that's how many we're actually...
Right. How many would be using the cabs?
Siobhan, how many?
Well, we
You
have
can
one
pass
right
the
now,
mic
I
if you
think.
want.
Yeah.
Right now, we have one, and we actually are doing a couple special ed kids with them, and we're only using this for times when we actually have nothing else. And we do get the proposal of, how much, I give them the trip, what it would entail, and they give me a price. If the price is at or below what we're already paying, I use it. Otherwise, I still try to find a different way to get the trip done.
Okay. And we have ensured that the drivers have clearances and all those things.
Have all of the clearances.
That was my question when you said about using it for special ed students.
Yeah, what's
or
the
for
cost right now?
IEP students.
Total cost in incur. The rest of
The one student we're transporting is $50. Was it per trip or per day? Each way.
Yes. Instead of having to hire a whole van at $170 something for the day.
It also allows us to do it the next day immediately, whereas trying to find, some.
You have one student right now. How many next week or any?
Yeah, there's some in the pipeline we don't know.
So the contract is say one student, maybe 3, 4 in the future?
It's
And change the
as
rates
needed.
or?
It's as needed.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. Seeing none, we'll call the vote. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Moving on.
Okay, action item 9.2, recommend the approval of the 2017-18 bus stops.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Moved by Dr. Hildebrand, second by Mr. Belmont. Any discussion?
Either so.
Okay. Seeing none, call the vote. Okay. Motion carries 5-1. Moving on.
Okay, item 9.3, recommend the approval for the 2017-18 bus driver list.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Mrs. Seligson. Any discussion?
So, how transient is this list? I mean, we're hearing that we can't keep a driver for a week or
Devon's
something
shaking
like
her head
that.
back there.
So it's like,
You'll
It
probably
is
be,
very transient. But we did just have a couple more drivers quit in the past few days. So it is transient. I mean, we'll have to get more approvals down the road as they get hired, but it is an ever-changing list.
Is there anybody in the pipeline?
Right
they
now,
train?
and I don't believe there is anybody at any of the garages. I was just giving an example of, we had 29 people that were, made it through to interviews. All 29 of them were invited to classes over the past couple of months, and 4 people showed up overall in these 2 months for classes, and we got 1 driver out of 29 candidates at one garage. And this is happening at the other garages as well. So anybody knows anybody who needs a job? $18 to start, and next year it's going up to $19.80. So.
Okay.
You say you got applications on that.
Absolutely, and they can be done online. Yep. We are in desperate need.
My next question is, do we have to eliminate any routes now that we can't, because we had some shortage, we're missing bus drivers?
I am cobbling together routes. Yes, we're having serious problems getting a number of routes covered. I do not have a bus driver for an entire route going to Propel Homestead and Munhall. Again, cobbling together, talking to the schools, trying to get windows of time.
How many students is that?
About 76 or so.
76 of one location?
Between the two, there's 2 schools over there. There's the elementary and the high school.
Wow.
But we are short drivers on many other runs.
Please don't put them in yellow cabs.
Yeah.
no.
Now, if anything, we will be approaching putting more students on Port Authority where we can do it.
See, years back, we had our own buses. So many, we have our drivers. We can keep them 8 hours. Pay them more than just 4 hours a day. That board at that time said we don't want to do it anymore. So if it still had it, we would be in good shape for buses and drivers. You might have to change the schedule around, maybe 1 hour here and 1 hour there. You still would have more buses and drivers if that was in place today. But again, if you got outvoted on that issue before.
This is an issue that it's just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Well,
and we're going to yellow cab, we're going to Pat, Port Authority, we're going to.
Rankin, we're busing kids from Rankin. The school's open, could be open over there. You can walk here, they can walk here, but we're busing all the way to Wilkins. Why? Nobody lives up there. They live here. So put the kid on a bus one way every day, 40 minutes now. But again, they want to close these schools and bus them. Why? Give me an answer. Somebody help me out one day.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, Rankin. The kids live right there. Down here they live. And Schaefer, another one, have a good area. They can bus walk to, not Wilkins. But they had to do Wilkins.
Yeah, we're Hazard Road at Wilkins.
Huh?
We can't walk to Wilkins.
I know. I said, but
I hear you.
we said that it shouldn't have never been done. But another mistake made over the years.
Any further discussion on that? Okay. Seeing none, call the vote.
Dude, lucky you got those.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay, moving on to buildings and grounds.
Action item 10.1, recommend the approval of the lease extension with William Scotsman for the mobile classroom trailer located at the intermediate school at an annual total cost of $20,334.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Hildebrand, second by Mrs. Seligson. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, call the vote. Motion carries 5-1.
Okay, action item 10.2, recommend the ratification of the maintenance proposal from Field Turf for the high school soccer field at a cost of $2,500 from Capital Reserve Fund.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Hildebrand, second by Mr. Belmont. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, call the vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Of surplus school equipment through an auction.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Tomasic, second by Mr. Belmont. Any conversation on this? Okay. Seeing none, call the vote. Motion carries with one negative vote.
Okay, action item 10.4.
I meant to, yes.
You want to change?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
I made the motion.
What's wondering what's going on there? And that's why I was confused. Good.
So you want to say yay?
Yeah.
Okay. So that'll be a unanimous acceptance of that one as well.
Bob, could this be a first?
Yeah.
He voted yes a couple times today. Come on.
I mean,
It is now all yes.
All right. And moving on.
Okay, action item 10.4, recommend approval to purchase a salt spreader from Zaresco in an amount of $3,232.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Tomasic, second by Mrs. Seligson. Any conversation?
Is this a new piece of equipment, replacing one?
Replacing one
that's shot?
Totally shot.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none.
Sorry.
Motion carries unanimously. Moving on.
Okay, action item 10.5, recommend the approval for Mealy to replace the pump house motor in the amount of $5,471 from Capital Reserve Fund 32, and that's at the intermediate building.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Hildebrand, second by Mrs. Seligson. Any conversation? Okay, seeing none. Motion carries unanimously. And moving on.
Okay, action item 10.6, recommend permission for outside organization to use facilities for the 2017-18 school year.
The list is attached. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Moved by Dr. Hildebrand, second by Mrs. Seligson. Any questions about the outside organizations? Okay, seeing none. Call a question. Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, action item 10.7, recommend permission to purchase a pressure steamer for the junior-senior high school cafeteria through CoStar's contract 036004 at a cost of $25,045 from the Capital Reserve Fund 32.
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Tomasic, second by Dr. Hildebrand. Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, action item 10.8, recommend the approval to purchase one Lockwood EG023F boiler feed pump for $2,950 from Capital Reserve Fund 32.
Where's it at?
And that's at the high school.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Tomasic, second by Dr. Hildebrand. Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on.
Okay, moving on to school finance. Action item 12.1, recommend the ratification of the bill list for invoices paid after the September 20th, 2017 legislative meeting.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? Moved by Dr. Hildebrand, second by Mrs. Seligson. Any questions? Seeing none. Motion carries with one vote in the negative.
Okay, action item 12.2, recommend the approval of the October 2017 bill list.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Moved by Dr. Hildebrand, second by Mrs. Seligson. Any conversation?
My question was from last month about the number of hours we spent on that resignation letter in that you did 7 hours of research for firm. Who asked you to work on that?
I was a conversation with Al.
So he asked you.
Yeah, because we had, and I said there may be some questions about it. He said, please look into it. So.
I mean, then he said something about problem. That's where you're right.
Oh, yeah, there was something, yeah, that had to do with the,
I know that
we were talking about resignations and when they take effect and the like. And so that's what we
I mean, we've been doing this for years. All of a sudden I get this bill for 7 hours. I said, I mean, more people resigned over the years. We never get billed that kind of money. I've only got 7 hours worth of time. People have left his bill for many times. You know, I say, why? All of a sudden, you have to have all this legal work done. But that's my question.
Well, I mean, it was asked by Alan. There was.
I know if Mr. Johnson asked you to put that time in, he does it. He likes to have all firm make a lot of money. I know that. That's a given.
He asked me. I'm not going to say.
I look
What am I
at the
going to
bills
say? No.
over the years, man. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And Mike, I asked you last meeting about Twistfield. I showed you what firm said about Twistfield. You were looking into it and say we could get any money back and tell the property you lost. Did you do anything for me? When I said, here's his law firm represented Swissville Borough, went down with a judge and said, Woodland Hills, we made whole for taxes. We sell the property again. All of a sudden, we didn't get none of it. We got $80,000 now. I want to find out why we couldn't. That law firm couldn't go back for the judge and say, wait, here's what you said before the judge, Swissville Borough. Instead of I was getting $80,000, we could have get $180,000. We paid that law firm $15,000 to represent us. The judge says, I'll terminate the sale, but based on Woodland Hills going to get their money. I gave you the information from the law firm to the judge. So he told me you'll take care of that last meeting. Now, 2 months ago. Last time I wasn't here last in September. You still can look into that for me? Give me an answer. If you do anything, we paid that law firm $15,000. What'd they do for us? Hello. I said, somebody else said, anybody did that work. Take a deposition for what purpose? I mean, that's, again, I like attorneys, but I don't like to pay them for, they're talking about different things instead of exactly what we have to have legal advice about for. We spent too much money. Okay, no answer. I think so. You went and talked to North Paddock and told him everything about this, but you didn't tell him about that. All right.
Any other questions? Mr. Tomasic, any other questions?
No.
Okay.
Outside, we're paying so much money for Paddock Hills. I don't know where we're at now for that. It's settled down yet? About written?
No, if you want to, I can talk to you about it after the meeting.
I know, I'm saying right now, but I think we're over $10,000 for prior law firm, and we got to be over $10,000. Just like the Churchill Country Club, we paid $5,000 legal work looking at Churchill Country Club. No, they tore it down. We got nothing. All the money spent for law firms for what we accomplished, nothing. They come in and just tore the building down. Don Palmer never worked for all his hours. Yeah, we're going to talk to them about the Churchill Country Club building. Yeah, we're going to get a good settlement. Yeah, no, you go look at it. Where'd that money go? I raised my taxes.
Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none. Motion carries with 1 vote in the negative.
Action item 12.3, recommend the acceptance of the September 2017 fund reports for informational purposes.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Moved by Dr. Hildebrand, second by Mrs. Seligson. Any questions? Seeing none. Motion carries unanimously.
Action item 12.4, recommend the approval of the investment reports for September of 2017.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Hildebrand, second by Mr. Tomasic. Any questions?
Seeing none? Motion carries unanimously.
Action item 12.5, recommend the acceptance of the September 2017 student activity reports for informational purposes.
Is there a move by Mr. Tomasic? Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Hildebrand. Any questions? Seeing none. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on.
Action item 12.6, recommend approval for the budgetary transfers for October of 2017.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Thank you.
Moved by Dr. Hildebrand, second by Mr. Tomasic. Any questions? Okay. Seeing none. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on.
Action item 12.7, recommend approval to open a capital project bank account with PLGIT for the GOB of 2017 bond proceeds.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Tomasic, second by Dr. Hildebrand. Any questions? Okay. Seeing none. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on.
Okay, action item 12.8, recommend the approval for exoneration of district taxes on block and lot 236B198 at 601 Kenmar Avenue, Rankin Borough, upon transfer of the property to the County of Allegheny at a fair market value purchase of $4,200, and the district's receipt from the County of Allegheny of the school district share of the $4,200 based on lien priority not to be less than $1,600.
So moved.
That's a lot.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Tomasic, second by Mrs. Seligson. Any questions?
Did we incur any legal costs on this?
We may have on talking on it. Actually, what happened was the county wanted us to do the exoneration paperwork, and I told our delinquent tax collector, no, you do the exoneration paperwork, because that was their job.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, call for the vote. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on.
Action item 12.9, recommend approval to purchase the SEC post-issuance compliance services from DAC, initial cost of $3,000, thereafter an annual fee of $1,500.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion by Dr. Hildebrand, second by Mrs. Seligson. Any questions?
Is this the first time for this requirement?
Yes.
First time?
Yes.
And what exactly we have to do? You got the list of what they're going to do for you? You can't do?
They're just going to verify that we have everything filed, because in the look back of 5 years, there were years that information wasn't filed at all, and some of it was incomplete. So once we prove to them that we're okay, we can back out of this anytime.
We got cited from the IRS about compliance issues. They get a whole list of things you have to do. Right? In here it says you're required to do this. L. Johnson says it maybe not required. You can, send me an email by itself. But IRS says that you are required to do this.
This is SEC.
I know, but also all the requirements over. That's how you get a burden. Now, what you're talking about, things that brought up that we didn't do. I'm still waiting for emails and that stuff from the law firm in New York to find out exactly what happened with the IRS. I don't know what ever happened to the IRS. What agreements we made with the IRS to do A, B, or C or whatever. I'm still looking for the files from those people. We paid them a lot of money, and I have no files to look at. Exactly what happened with the IRS, and what did they do? I asked you, call them and send the emails and letters to them, ask the law firm to do that. And now I'm saying right here, you got cited for now you have to hire this firm another $2,000 because somebody didn't do your work before. And I want to know exactly what has to be done. How complicated is this requirement to me? That's what I want to see.
It's not complicated. Last year, the problem was we didn't get the audit report approved by the board until March, and it should have been approved in December because we have to have it. I had a draft up there for 4 months, and it should have been up there by December 31st.
I don't need that firm to do the audit report. Then I got agreement with the Capitol here. They said they're going to just some of the things for us.
The what?
Capital agreement, the underwriter. They said they're going to do some things for us. I don't know exactly what they can do for us. And maybe let that other firm do their work, and we're going to pay fees for them. We ever paid them, so they're going to get somebody else to do their work.
They've got their fee at closing.
I know, but still, they still get involved in this stuff. To them. So I don't find exactly who's going to be doing what over the years. I mean, I'm coming here and say, I need this firm, another $2,000, $3,000. What, audit report? They can't do it faster. It has to be done by here.
Well, they're going to get it done this year in November.
I know, but why am I paying
them
that?
I needed it.
Send up the audit report or the budget. You can do that. Let's find out what you can do, and we'll pay them the difference.
Bob, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Mike, what happens if we don't follow this recommendation?
Well, it was strongly suggested to us. I mean, it's kind of a good faith thing, I guess.
It's an insurance policy.
It is, but it's more or less
$3,000
to hopefully keep the SEC at bay until
you pay $3,000.
At least
I'm paying him $100,000 to do this work.
Oh, why do it? I do all the reporting that I'm supposed to do, but
I understand.
It wasn't done in the past, and the audit report held me up last year.
Sometimes you have to do buy a manual and say, here's what this law requires. You read it over and say, I can do this. All right? I got to do it. I got to go 40 hours a year, update and whatever.
My question would be, how do we miss it 5 years in a row?
It wasn't done in its entirety. Some of it wasn't done at all.
This was before your time.
And then the audit report was the big thing after I got here, trying to get it approved by December 31st, because the board has to accept it for the auditors to take the draft label off it. We get it in time, and it didn't get, it got hung up at the board level.
So we consistently filed it late, or not just overlooked it, didn't do it?
The last couple of years, all the information was filed. It was brought up to date when we did the everything was brought up to date when we did the GOB 2016 issue. So everything's up to date for the last 5 years, but it was filed. Plus, last year, I know the hang-up was the audit report because it wasn't approved by the board until March. So we're going to get it earlier this year, and it'll be on the agenda in December, so that in either November or December, so that we can meet that December 30 deadline. Because the other information I already have.
Okay.
It's already out there for this 17 issue. It's just going to be filed on EMMA, which is the SEC's disclosure site.
Why do you have to do that firm if you get the audit report that's done timely? The IRS got their compliance requirements. You have to have those things in place from the IRS. I hope you have them in place now.
Yeah, everything's in place.
So
it's just an additional level requirement that the financial backers of this issue want to see.
Well, what's your
It's a comfort level that they want to see.
What's your
Basically is
bond
what it is.
rating anyway? What's your bond rating? What do you get?
What was it? A negative, A minus negative outlook, which is the same as we got last year. So we didn't go up, but we didn't go down.
I can see when you refinance a bond issue for $6 million to pay off the current one, you're paying more finance to do bond issue than what you're paying for the old one. I can see from looking. I wouldn't even do that. Woodland Hills did, yeah. Nobody else would do it. Refinance something, pay more interest than you're paying the existing bonds. Yeah. So the guy looks at that and he says, "Whoa, Christ, Woodland Hills, I got to be careful with them." Who would do that? We did it. And we paid $85,000 of fees to do that too.
So I'm at this point, I'm going to vote no. I don't see. I'm not sold on why we need to spend $3,500 on a job we're going to do in a timely fashion anyway.
Because the financial market wants to see us commit a little bit more because of our history is not good. So they're saying, basically, we want you to follow this, and we can do it for 2 years, and then we'll back out of it.
So this will be prorated?
Well, the first year is $3,000 because there's initial setup fee, and then the reporting fee, and then the second year will be $1,500.
And the recommendation came from the
bond underwriter.
Bond underwriters, okay.
And the market itself, because there was the bond underwriter.
Do we have any insurance on the bonds?
Yes, they're insured.
We also are paying our insurance on it too, right?
Yes.
And they say, I'm going to have to do this too. I'm not right with this picture. That's just, the insurance mandates you do this stuff. That's a people, you have to then hire this other person. They'll make sure the insurance is going to cover. Make sure you just.
Mr. Gigliotti, what's the impact on the bond issue if we were to fail to take this insurance?
I really don't know what the impact is because, I know that the bond underwriter is sent me 3 emails to see if we've done it. Okay, but the closing is next week. The bonds have been sold already. If we miss, we will probably get fined by the SEC. So what they want to do is just give us a little more insurance that they have someone behind us nagging us and verifying the information, what we're going to put out there is accurate information.
If you don't get the audit done, how can you comply? If you don't get the audit done, how can you comply?
Well, I've received assurances from the auditors that they will have it done for November.
Any further discussion? Okay. Seeing none, call the vote.
Taxpayers be happy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Going down.
Okay.
We got 3 days.
All right, the motion fails.
Okay, I'll let them know.
Okay. Moving on.
Okay, action item 12.10, recommend the acceptance of the Woodland Hills Aquatic Team, or WAT, donation of $1,000 to the library at the secondary campus.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Tomasic, second by Dr. Hildebrand. Any questions? Okay. Seeing none.
Yeah.
You have everything. Hold on for a second. Oops, she got you.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. Moving on.
Okay, to the superintendent, action item 14.1, recommend approval for the superintendent to attend the Transformational Leadership Conference at the Beaver IU 27, October 23rd and 24th at no cost to the district. And this is for Mr. Johnson's mandatory at 48 credits.
Is there a motion?
I move.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Hildebrand, second by Mr. Belmont. Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Motion carries with one vote in the negative. Moving on.
Action item 14.2, recommend the approval for the proposal from Awaken Pittsburgh for staff development at Edgewood Primary and the Woodland Hills Academy at a cost not to exceed $13,950. I'd just like to remind everyone of the presentation last week from Dr. Romero, in which the program will really help teach mindfulness to our staff at those two buildings in terms of dealing with stress of educators, but also with the children. And hopefully, when this program is done, we can extend it to the other buildings.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Mrs. Seligson. Any questions?
I'd just like to comment that this sounds like an excellent program, and I think as a board, we're all excited to get this off the ground.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, call the vote. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on.
Action item 14.3, recommend the acceptance of the American Dairies Association Fuel Up to Play 60 grant awarded to the intermediate building of $2,125.
So moved.
Is there a second? Moved by Mr. Tomasic, second by Dr. Hildebrand. Any discussion?
I'd like to thank Ms. Klein for her work on that.
Absolutely. Okay. Seeing no further discussion, call the vote. Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations on that grant. Moving on.
And we have another grant for the intermediate, and it's recommend the acceptance of the Let's Move Pittsburgh grant in the amount of $1,000 for the intermediate school, which provides Allegheny County early learning centers and elementary schools with the resources to implement school-based health and wellness initiatives.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Tomasic, second by Dr. Hildebrand. Any discussion on that? Okay. Seeing none, call the vote. Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations once again.
And that is it, Ms. Glasser.
Okay, that concludes the agenda portion. Is there any old business? Any new business?
I'd like to make an announcement.
Sure.
For those in attendance and those watching on TV, I'd like to recommend a series of articles in the nonpartisan, non-political digital journal called publicsource.org. publicsource.org. The series you want to search is entitled Charter Effect, and there's about 5 or 6 articles that have been written the last month and a half, and it's an education unto itself. You read these articles and you will get a very clear understanding as how charters are funded, run, what goes on, how they're impacting us. What you guys didn't see in the bill list, in the month of October, for example, we paid $220,000 to Braddock Hills Propel, $4,000 to Penn Hills Entrepreneurial, and the list goes on and on. These are our tax dollars, and in my opinion, they're not being spent efficiently at all. The transportation fiasco that we're dealing with constantly, a large part of that is because of all the charter schools that we're busing to. To give you two examples of how dollars have been spent recently, we're allowed to advertise as our charter schools, but we don't budget for it. We don't have that. In the last 3 school years, there are 14 cyber charter schools in the state of Pennsylvania. Of the 14, 12 of those schools spent $21 million on advertising. The rationale, well, we got to let people know that we're here. That's $21 million not going to a classroom, to a principal, or any other school need that we could enumerate here for the rest of the night. That same period of time, 12 of the brick and mortar traditional charters in the county of Allegheny spent $678,000 on advertising. I was going to work the other morning. I was listening to DVE, and one of the charters was advertising for teachers. Keep in mind that every single one of our teachers is certified. They've been educated, some to the hilt. And you go to a charter school, 1 out of 4 of those teachers don't have certification. They don't have to have certification. Ours do. So I highly recommend that you go to publicsource.org, educate yourself, and then educate your neighbor, and start getting the word out that we need to do something about this. Thank you.
Can I say something? I agree with your assessment on charter schools. However, I think we should really just focus on just making our schools better. We make our schools better. We get into a situation where our parents will want to bring their kids. Half our kids go to another school. Mm-hmm. If we make our school better, our parents are going to want to come back, and they're going to want to be in our school. We cut down on the busing issue. We cut down on the $14 million that we're paying to all of these schools for their assistance. We just got to get better.
I agree 100%. I will not argue that point. But in the meantime, when I look at what we're doing academically compared to what they're doing academically, what's better?
Well,
what do they offer when we look at our extracurricular activities?
If academically we're above them, then we need to service our residents better. We give a better product, then we also need to give a better service, which means that should flow from the board all the way down to any interaction a teacher has with a student. And that should be it. If we give a better service to our customers, they will come back.
Yeah, and we will get better from the board on down.
We will get better. I guarantee that.
There's no doubt about that. And we're going to get better on all fronts. Everything.
It's just not going to take place by us advertising is not going to be a situation. A lot of successful businesses don't even advertise. We can still use word of mouth. We have a whole district. We have 12 boroughs. We have citizens within our boroughs. If we're at a better school, they will bring their kids to our school.
That's right. My point is we don't have to advertise. My point is we educate ourselves as to what's going on, how it works, and that unto itself, people start to realize, I have to examine this. How are my tax dollars being spent? And then they can do something to help us do what we want to do.
But obviously right now they want to send their kids to a different school.
But they don't understand everything that's going on.
They need to understand we're going to get better.
And that's right, and we will. We agree on that.
All right.
But along the way, people need to understand how this all works.
They need to understand we're going to get better.
They need to understand both. We can agree on that.
All right. I'll agree to that.
All right.
All right. Any further new business? Okay. Just a reminder to get in minutes from committee reports from last month. I think most of those have been submitted at this point. And that brings us to public comment. If there's anyone who wishes to address the board, now's that time. A reminder that comments are limited to 2 minutes, and speakers should give their name and address of residence before speaking. Personal attacks will not be tolerated. And we welcome Ms. Boobin.
Tracy Boobin, Wilkins Avenue. Brought up a lot of interesting stuff. Mike, do you know why my son left the school? Do you even care? Does anybody on that board, other than Mr. Hildebrand and Mr. Tomasic and Charday, know why my son left the school? Did anybody ever ask? Mr. Johnson told me he was going to call me and ask me. So, you know what? You deserve to pay for my son not going to your school. Nobody gave a crap. You have a teacher up there that caused him to want to leave the school. Okay? And I hope everybody that watches it wants to contact me to find out who that teacher is. Because nobody cared. Nobody. Okay? Everybody wants to pass the buck and everything. You could spend $1 million. Nobody's going to want to go to this school if you don't improve. Which brings me to the test scores. Last week, Mr. Johnson said the kids at Wilkins are suffering from PTSD, and he gave them the out. That's why their test scores weren't good. If you're experienced enough to identify there is a roadblock to the children learning, such as the PTSD, which you mentioned, not only have you given reasons to the public why those children did not succeed, you are also giving the children a reason that they can say they are not succeeding. Since when does a school accept failure? Because ours does. Ours gives excuses. Mr. Gigliotti gave excuses on why he didn't meet deadlines. I work for the government. I have to answer to the federal government. Okay? I will get fired if I don't meet deadlines. I am told you will sit in your office and you will do the work if you have a deadline to meet. I don't care if you have to work 48 hours straight. You're getting paid to do a service. Do it. Giving excuses, making excuses, and passing the buck is not going to make this district any better. Be proactive and not reactive. Don't wait until there's problems. And you know what? There's a lot of trays out there. And I tell everybody why my son left. And you lose people.
Good evening, everybody. Lou Berry, 256 Fleet Street. I'm going to be brief. I mean, the situation is this. There's a lack of public confidence in the district. Until we address that, you know, I mean, the charter schools is going to be what they are. It'll probably get worse. I was just talking to a friend of mine last night who has 5 children in the district. All 5 of them go to charter school. She's not even considering sending them back to the district. I mean, until we address this public confidence issue, it's going to be a lot more of the same. And I mean, I've said it before. We need to overhaul this thing, start from the beginning, because the public don't have much confidence in the district right now. That's all I got to say.
Anyone else who wishes to speak?
I move for adjournment.
Okay. I have a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Okay. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.